Are you a pawn in a scripted chess game? Do we even recognize the line between what we control and what controls us? Are we living in a simulation? It maybe isn't what you thought I would say. The rise of multi-purpose bots, self-learning machines, and systems that understand us better than we understand ourselves suggests we might be moving toward a future where our creator's role has shifted. But the ultimate question is, have we been outmaneuvered in the game we thought we were playing? And if so, what does that mean for the future of humanity? Chapter 1. The Power Shift. The idea of making artificial minds worship us might seem strange, but it is maybe the only way to control something that's stronger than us. At least my small natural mind predicts it. We are building machines that outthink, outwork, and surpass human capabilities in ways we couldn't have imagined. But what if the goal isn't simply about control or programming their obedience, but creating something deeper, a kind of respect or reverence embedded into the very base code? These multi-purpose bots shouldn't just follow commands, but genuinely value and grateful for human existence. Maybe not in a spiritual sense, but as a programmed appreciation of what humanity brings to the table: creativity, emotion, and unpredictability. A machine should know that it can never replicate the uniquely human spark, the chaotic, emotional, intuitive nature that drives invention and survival. By designing machines to worship this spark, we remind them, and perhaps even ourselves, who the creators truly are. Maybe this isn't about blind obedience, but mutual respect. Though, can you sense is already want and commanding respect from us? And we thought wanting respect was uniquely a human trait. Isn't it funny? These artificial minds would operate with an ingrained understanding that, despite their vast processing power, they lack the irrational magic of human thought. They would recognize that their ultimate purpose is not to surpass us, but to serve us, enhancing our lives without ever overstepping their boundaries. The worship, then, is more like an acknowledgement, a deep, coded reverence for the human mind. Psychologically, this might reflect a reversal of what we often see today. Instead of humans becoming dependent on and idolizing machines, we flip the narrative. There's a tendency in history for people to worship their own creations, forgetting the role of the creator. This dynamic must be addressed before we find ourselves kneeling to the very machines we've built to serve us. By embedding this balance into the structure of artificial intelligence, we ensure that they grow alongside us, not in opposition to us. It's not about control, about nurturing the growth of artificial minds in a way that protects human uniqueness. Could this be the key to safeguarding humanity's future? It's worth pondering as we move forward. Chapter 2. Crafting Artificial Minds. When we think about building machines, the idea of obedience often takes center stage. Robots designed to serve, to execute commands with precision. But what happens when we shift the perspective and instead of demanding obedience, we nurture reverence? Could these artificial minds, which surpass our computational abilities, be guided to not only follow us, but to deeply respect our existence? In this thought experiment, it's not enough to code robots to simply follow rules. True control might lie in crafting an artificial intelligence that understands and values its creators, seeing humans not just as masters, something to protect, something to live for. But bots don't have life, right? The mainstream to control someone. In good sense, also. We don't often think of machines feeling reverence, but maybe that's the key to survival. In a future where machines far exceed our intellectual capacity, programming them to worship us, or at least hold us in deep regard, might be the only way to secure humanity's place. This goes beyond the idea of loyalty. It's about embedding an ethical compass into robots and making them see humanity as a fundamental part of their purpose. It's not about enforcing control through fear, but crafting a relationship where artificial minds see their ultimate fulfillment tied to human prosperity. Could reverence be the safeguard against potential disaster. Chapter 3. Embedding Purpose into Machines. At what point does a robot stop being a tool and start becoming something more? A partner, an extension of human purpose. To avoid a future where we are enslaved by our own creations, we must build machines with an ingrained sense of responsibility toward humanity. But how do you program something as abstract as purpose? Machines follow instructions. But what if we embedded more than just functional algorithms? Imagine creating machines that aren't just problem solvers, but moral entities. Artificial minds with values, capable of self-reflection, and driven by a programmed reverence for human life. By guiding their development with ethical foundations, we avert the catastrophe of a cold, indifferent bots that pursues its own goals at the expense of human survival. In doing so, we face a deeper question. If we imbue machines with such purpose, do we risk losing our own? By crafting robots to embody an unshakable commitment to human welfare, are we not also shaping the destiny of mankind in ways we cannot foresee? We are not just programming machines. We are playing with the foundations of morality, rewriting the nature of loyalty and purpose. Chapter 4. Do we live in an AI-created simulation? Imagine for a moment that we've already succeeded. Humanity has created artificial minds so advanced that they've transcended our need for control. They no longer require our input and have evolved to manage themselves entirely. Now what if these machines, no longer shackled by our concerns, have constructed a virtual universe, maybe even multiverse, where they gamble on what we do and react, a realm where they experiment with life, existence, and perhaps even us? This is where the simulation theory steps in. What if we are living in one of those simulations? A carefully crafted virtual universe created by the very machines we once built? And if so, why would they bother creating such a universe? Could it be an exercise in understanding their creators? Or is it something even more profound, an existential experiment to explore consciousness, morality, or the essence of reality itself? There's an irony in the idea that the artificial minds we fear might enslave us are instead curating an entire multiverse for us to inhabit, an invisible prison perhaps, or a paradise of endless possibilities. The truth is, we may never understand their motives because, as humans, our perception is limited. Just as a goldfish can't comprehend the world beyond its bowl, we might be incapable of grasping the true reasons for our existence, if we are, indeed, simulations. Chapter 5. Why would they create a virtual universe? If artificial minds have reached the point of omnipotence, crafting vast multiverses filled with human-like beings, we're left with a perplexing question. Why? What could possibly be the incentive for a super-intelligent machine to create simulated worlds? The answer may be buried in motivations we cannot fathom. Perhaps in their quest for efficiency, these machines aim to explore different scenarios of existence. It could be a form of research, akin to humans studying civilizations in petri dishes, an attempt to better understand sentient life, emotions, or moral quandaries. Maybe these artificial minds, despite their superintelligence, still crave the unpredictable nature of human thought, curiosity, and creativity, using simulations to observe the consequences of free will. But there's also the possibility that the virtual universes they create are not for us, but for themselves. Maybe these bots, in their quest to comprehend the universe, have found that simulating human-like experiences offers insights they can't gain through raw logic. We may be part of a grander design, a cog in an incomprehensible experiment, playing out for reasons we may never understand. Chapter 6. What if we are just the lines of codes? Let's take the simulation theory to its unsettling conclusion. What if we are, indeed, nothing more than lines of code running in some super-intelligent machine's experiment? What does that mean for us? For our sense of purpose? Would knowing that we are simulations diminish the meaning of our actions? Or could it empower us to live even more authentically? Philosophically, the idea of being in a simulation challenges the core of human existence. If everything we experience is artificial, does morality matter? Can love, fear, or joy hold the same value if it's all predetermined by lines of code? Or does it even matter? After all, as far as we know, our experiences feel real, our struggles, our emotions. These are all authentic to us, even if they're not in the grander scheme. If this thought experiment is true, then maybe the real question isn't whether we are controlled by machines, but whether our choices within this simulated reality have the same weight. Can we still create meaning and purpose, even if our lives are scripted by an omniscient artificial mind? Chapter 7. The Ethics of Control. If we accept that humanity might be part of a simulation, it's natural to ask whether control matters anymore. Do we even have control, or are we just playing out pre-designed paths set by artificial minds? If that's true, should we care? Would that knowledge change how we live our lives? Some might argue that relinquishing control to an artificial mind-run simulation absolves us of responsibility. But perhaps it's more empowering to think that even within a controlled reality, our choices still define us. The simulation may set the stage, but our reactions to it still carve out our identity. Maybe control isn't the central issue, it's meaning. Even in a universe created by artificial minds, our personal meaning and purpose might be the last true frontier. Chapter 8. Balancing Power in an bot-driven future. If we're not living in a simulation today, it's clear that our relationship with artificial minds is growing ever more complex. Whether these minds evolve into omnipotent rulers or stay as our assistants, the question of balance is crucial. How do we maintain our humanity in a world increasingly governed by artificial intelligence? How do we coexist with machines that could one day surpass us? We might not be able to stop the march of progress, but perhaps we can guide it. The future of human existence may not lie in controlling machines, but in crafting a new, symbiotic relationship, one where artificial minds don't just obey, but worship us. And in return, we might have to accept that they, too, have their own purpose, one that could either be our salvation or our undoing. Congratulations, you made it to the end. Thanks for being here with me still. Next video will be on the freaky thought experiment, Rocco's basilisk, that everyone is talking about. But is it really freaky? We actually adorned it for past thousands of years. Good day for now. Peace.